People ask me all the time, Jim, how do I sell myself when I'm not naturally confident? And I tell them, you don't start by selling yourself to others. You start by selling yourself to yourself. You've got to close that first deal internally before you can convince anyone else to buy in. Because if you walk into a room unsure, hesitant, second, guessing your own worth, the world will sense it. They always do. People can feel confidence before you even say a word. It's in your tone, your presence, your preparation. Confidence isn't about walking around acting like you know everything. No, real confidence is quiet. It's calm. It's rooted in preparation and built brick by brick through effort, habits, and results. The kind of confidence that says, I've earned my spot here. You can't fake that. You can't put that on like a suit and hope no one notices. It has to be developed from the inside out. Most people never take the time to build that inner foundation. They focus so much on looking confident, the handshake, the smile, the outfit, that they forget to be confident. And confidence is a product of one thing: proof. Proof that you've done the work. Proof that you've practiced when nobody was watching. Proof that you've learned something worth sharing. You can't talk your way into real confidence. You have to live your way into it. Now, here's something most people get wrong. They think selling yourself means convincing others to believe in you. But the truth is, you're not trying to convince anyone. You're trying to communicate belief that already exists. If you believe deeply enough, your energy will do the selling for you. Your presence becomes your message. I remember once talking to a young salesman who told me, Mr. Rohn, I just can't seem to close deals. People don't trust me. So I asked him, would you buy from you? He paused. He smiled. He said, honestly, probably not. And there it was. The problem wasn't his pitch, it was his posture. He hadn't yet convinced himself that what he was offering had value. And until he did, no one else would. If you don't believe in the product, the presentation doesn't matter, and you are the product. Your attitude, your work ethic, your knowledge, your reputation. That's what you're selling every day, whether you realize it or not. Every conversation, every interaction, every decision adds or subtracts from your value in the marketplace. That's why personal growth isn't optional. It's essential. You want to sell yourself better. Start by improving what you're selling. Sharpen your mind. Strengthen your character. Master your craft. People are drawn to those who radiate competence and calm. The kind of person who clearly knows what they're doing. And that's not arrogance. That's reliability. That's credibility. You can't build that in a day, but you can start today. Now, confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. True confidence whispers, and it's the whisper that gets remembered. The loudest person in the room often has the least to say, but the one who's composed, who listens, who responds with depth, that's the person people trust. That's who they buy from. So before you walk into any opportunity, whether it's an interview, a meeting, or a conversation, ask yourself, what am I really offering? If all you're offering is a polished appearance and a few rehearsed lines, people will sense the hollowness. But if you're offering sincerity, competence, and conviction, they'll buy into you, not because you asked them to, but because you gave them a reason to. It starts with self-honesty. Sit with yourself and ask, where am I lacking? Not in a judgmental way, but in a practical one. Do I need to learn more? Prepare better. Discipline my habits. Confidence grows from clarity, knowing what you stand for, what you offer, and where you're going. The more aligned your actions are with your intentions, the more natural confidence you project. The world doesn't reward the most talented person. It rewards the most consistent. Talent without belief collapses under pressure, but consistency builds belief, one day, one choice, one disciplined action at a time. So if you want to sell yourself even when you fear rejection, begin with this truth. People can't buy conviction that doesn't exist. Your first sale isn't to the world. It's to the person you see in the mirror. Convince them that you're capable, worthy, and ready. Because once that deal is done, the rest becomes easy. One of the biggest reasons people fail to sell themselves, whether in business, relationships, or life, is fear. Not lack of ability, not lack of talent, but fear. Fear of being judged, fear of being rejected, fear of putting yourself out there and being told you're not enough. And I'll tell you something, that fear is powerful, but it's not real. It's a story you've told yourself for so long that you've started to believe it. Rejection isn't fatal. It's feedback. It's not the world saying, you're not good enough. It's the world saying, not yet. There's a difference. The problem is, most people stop after no. They take rejection personally instead of productively. They internalize it instead of analyzing it. They say, maybe I'm not cut out for this, instead of asking, what can I learn from this? But if you look closely, every successful person you admire, every leader, entrepreneur, or artist has one thing in common. They learned to keep moving even when the world told them to stop. I remember reading once about a man who applied for hundreds of jobs before anyone said yes. He told a friend, every no I get brings me one step closer to the right ice. And that's a mindset most people never master, because it takes emotional maturity to hear no and not let it define your worth. It takes discipline to understand that rejection isn't a reflection of who you are, but simply a signal that you still have more growing to do. You've got to learn to reinterpret rejection. Instead of letting it bruise your ego, let it build your endurance. Every time you're told no, your emotional muscles get stronger. You learn resilience. You develop patience. You gain wisdom. And that's what the marketplace rewards. People who can get back up, refine their strategy, and return stronger. But here's the secret. You can't conquer fear by avoiding it. You conquer it by facing it, by stepping into it over and over until your mind learns that it doesn't control you. The fear of rejection is like a muscle that atrophies when left unused. The less you challenge it, the weaker you become. The more you confront it, the more it loses its power over you. See, most people let fear dictate the size of their dreams. They start out with big visions. But the first time they're rejected or ridiculed, they shrink their goals down to what feels safe. And soon, they're living half-lives, full of potential, but never daring to test it. And here's the tragedy. They think they're avoiding pain, but in truth, they're creating a deeper kind of pain. The pain of regret. Jim Rohn used to say, discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. The same is true for rejection. The pain of hearing no might sting for a day, but the pain of never trying will echo for a lifetime. You can recover from failure, but you can't recover from the feeling of wondering, what if? So you have to make a choice. You can either live in the comfort of avoidance or the growth of exposure. You can either protect your ego or build your character, but you can't do both. Every time you take a risk, you're teaching yourself something valuable that you can survive discomfort. And once you learn that, you become unstoppable. The key is detachment. Don't attach your identity to the outcome. If someone says no, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting an offer, an idea, a timing. Keep perspective. You are not the rejection. You are the person capable of learning from it and trying again. And remember, people who appear fearless aren't without fear. They've just learned to act despite it. They've practiced courage like a skill. You can do the same. Every small risk, every uncomfortable conversation, every attempt that stretches you, that's training. That's how you sell yourself, even when you fear rejection. If you never risk hearing no, you'll never earn the right to hear yes. That's how the world works. Success doesn't come to those who play it safe. It comes to those who dare to fail publicly, learn privately, and return wiser. And if you ever feel doubt creeping in, remind yourself, rejection doesn't break strong people, it builds them. It filters out the ones who are merely interested from the ones who are truly committed. Now let's talk about something most people overlook when it comes to selling themselves: authentic confidence. Not arrogance, not pretending, but the quiet power that comes from truly believing in what you bring to the table. You see, Too many people try to compensate for insecurity by exaggerating, performing, or wearing a mask they think others will like. They spend so much energy appearing confident that they never develop the real thing. Authentic confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It comes from alignment. When what you think, what you say, and what you do are all consistent. That's what makes you trustworthy. That's what draws people to you. Because at the end of the day, people don't buy products, services, or even ideas. They buy energy. They buy certainty. They buy conviction. You can't fake conviction. The marketplace is smarter than that. People can sense hesitation. They can sense when your words don't match your belief. And the truth is, you can't expect the world to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself first. Jim Rohn used to say, "You attract success by the person you become." And that begins with cultivating inner certainty. The kind that no rejection, no criticism, and no failure can shake. So how do you build that kind of confidence? You start by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and follow through, your mind starts to trust you. You become your own ally instead of your own enemy. But every time you say one thing and do another, every time you set a goal and quit halfway, you teach yourself that your word doesn't mean much. And once that trust is broken internally, it shows externally. You can't hide that. Confidence isn't built in the moment of performance. It's built in the hours of preparation no one sees. It's built when you practice your craft, when you learn your material, when you push through boredom and self-doubt and still show up. Most people want to appear confident without doing the work that earns it. But confidence isn't a costume, it's a consequence. The result of discipline, of repetition, of proof. Now, there's something else that destroys confidence faster than anything else: comparison. The moment you measure your worth by someone else's progress, you've already lost. Because comparison breeds insecurity. It convinces you that you're behind, that you're not enough, that you're missing something only others have. But the truth is, no one can compete with you when you're authentic. No one can replicate your voice, your experiences, your energy. That's your advantage. But you lose it the second you try to imitate someone else. When you walk into a room with real self-belief, you don't have to prove yourself. Your presence does it for you. You speak less, but your words carry more weight. You listen more, but your silence commands attention. That's what authenticity looks like in action. And the irony is, the moment you stop trying to impress people is usually when you start to impress them. So, if you fear rejection, remember this: confidence doesn't mean you'll never be rejected. It means rejection won't define you. You'll understand that one no doesn't erase your worth, and one failure doesn't erase your ability. You'll keep showing up because your validation no longer depends on applause. It depends on integrity. There's a story of a young man who once asked his mentor, "How do I gain confidence in front of others?" The mentor said, "By learning to respect yourself in private." What he meant was simple. Public confidence grows from private discipline. The person who takes care of their health, manages their time, studies their field, and works when no one's watching doesn't need external approval. They carry certainty from the inside out. And that's the kind of confidence that sells. Not through pressure, not through manipulation, but through presence. When you walk into a negotiation, an interview, or a conversation knowing you've done the work, you no longer beg for belief. You embody it. People respond to that. They trust it. Because they can feel the difference between someone performing confidence and someone being confident. So the next time you catch yourself doubting, don't try to fake your way out of it. Instead, do the work that eliminates the doubt. Prepare harder. Learn deeper. Keep the small promises. Stand for something. Because when you build your character, confidence naturally follows. And when confidence follows, opportunities multiply. Let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle: consistency. Because once you've built confidence, mastered your mindset, and learned to face rejection with grace, it all comes down to how long you can keep showing up. Most people start strong but fade fast. They get excited, Inspired, they set big goals. But the moment the results take longer than expected, they disappear. And that's why most people never see what they're truly capable of. They never stay long enough to experience the harvest of their effort. Jim Rohn once said, "The formula for success is easy: a few simple disciplines, practiced every day. Not once in a while. Not when it's convenient. Every day." See, it's not the grand gestures that change your life. It's the small habits that compound quietly over time. The morning you get up even when you don't feel like it. The phone call you make after hearing 3 no's. The extra hour you spend refining your craft when no one's watching. That's consistency, and that's where greatness grows. Here's the hard truth: consistency isn't exciting. It's not glamorous. No one applauds you for it. But it's what separates the amateurs from the masters. Anyone can be disciplined for a day. Anyone can be motivated for a week. But the person who can stay committed through boredom, through setbacks, through seasons when nothing seems to work, that's the person who wins. The reason most people don't is because they confuse movement with progress. They chase the next big idea, the next opportunity, the next burst of motivation, but they never stay rooted long enough to build something that lasts. They get impatient, so they start over again and again. They dig a new well every few months, wondering why they never find water. But the truth is, success requires patience. You have to keep digging in the same place until you hit the source. Consistency also builds credibility. When people see you show up day after day, regardless of how you feel, they start to trust you. They start to believe in your reliability. And that trust, whether in business, leadership, or personal growth, is the foundation of all influence. You can't lead without consistency. You can't sell without consistency. You can't grow without consistency. Think about the farmer who plants seeds. He doesn't dig them up every day to check if they're growing. He waters them, nurtures them, and lets time do its work. Most people plant the seed but lose faith before it sprouts. They say, "It's not working," when in truth, they simply stop too soon. Consistency is faith in motion. It's doing the right thing even when the results haven't yet appeared. Now, there's another reason consistency is rare: it's lonely. The path of discipline isn't crowded. When you're consistent, you'll often walk alone while others are distracted, discouraged, or giving up. You'll face days when no one notices your effort, when progress feels invisible, and when quitting would be easier. But those are the exact moments that shape your character. That's when life is asking, how bad do you really want it? If you can stay the course through those quiet seasons, you'll discover something powerful: momentum. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum makes success almost inevitable. Once you get it rolling, your habits begin to carry you. What was once difficult becomes automatic. The resistance fades. You stop needing motivation because your discipline takes over, and that's when the real transformation happens. But make no mistake, consistency isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. You'll stumble. You'll miss days. You'll make mistakes. But what matters is that you return again and again. The discipline of returning builds resilience. It teaches your mind that setbacks aren't the end. They're part of the process. Let me share a simple thought that Jim Rohn used to express: success is not doing extraordinary things, it's doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. That's consistency. It's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about turning it every single day. Over time, those small turns create unstoppable force. And here's the beauty of it: when you stay consistent long enough, your reputation begins to speak for you. You no longer have to chase opportunities, they start finding you. Because the world rewards reliability. It trusts the person who shows up, rain or shine, success or struggle. So, if you fear rejection, if you doubt yourself, if you're waiting for the right time, stop waiting and start showing up. Every day you delay, the habit of inconsistency grows stronger. But every day you act, even in small ways, your future shifts in your favor. Consistency is the bridge between intention and achievement. It's not built in a day, but it's built daily. And once you cross it, you'll realize You didn't just achieve success, you became the kind of person success belongs to.